Today I'm going to show you how to make a foot pedal out of a rat trap. So the first thing we're going to pull off is this piece. And you can see there's a little clip right here and a little clip right here holding this in. So we want to pull that out, but we don't want to damage the wood. So I'm going to get my pliers here. I'm going to get a hold of that, but I'm going to use this metal underneath the pliers so I can pull up on that without damaging the wood. And you can see that came out pretty easy. On this one, if I just grab this and go like this, you can see it's going to push down on the wood and damage it. So I'm just going to put something here. We'll use the bottom of the messed up foot pedal. I'm just going to pull up and pull that out. Again, I'm going to hold on to this because we're going to use this. And then now I'm going to remove this piece also because we're not going to use this either. So now we have all the pieces off that we don't need, but we're going to reuse this piece right here. Now I've seen that they do this on one side. They hold down this spring that's loaded on one side, and what happens is you can see that it's a little crooked because there's not even pressure. You just have the one side being held. So what I'm going to do is actually put it on both sides. That way you get equal pressure on this bar here. So if we need two of these and we only have one of these, what we're going to do is just cut this in half. So having some wire cutters for this will come in handy for you. You also might want some different shaped pliers like needle nose, so that you can bend this wire or roll it up, do whatever you need to get it in the right shape that you want. So I'm going to put these along the outside. That way it doesn't interfere with anything. So you need a little bit of wire to play with here on the bottom. So I bent it back a little bit. That way I have about an inch or so here. Now I want to bend this up. That way this will hold on to the bottom of the rat trap and keep this locked into place. Then I'm going to put this up against the wood where I'm going to place it. And then I'm going to mark where the wire is touching the wood. So I know where that's at. And then I'm going to drill a little hole, not all the way through, just enough for this to fit into right there. Okay, so that's going to go in there like so. And then I'm going to bend this over, and then we're going to figure out where we want to bend this again, and then mark it and bend it again so that it will hold this in place. If you want it to hold a little bit better too, have a little notch to sit in, you can Dremel tool the sides of this. So that's a little bit of a process there, but you can mess with it and get it to work just right. And if it doesn't sit flush on the bottom, just drill out the bottom a little bit more. That way your base will be flush and it'll sit evenly, and it won't move around as much if it doesn't have things poking out of the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is drill 2 holes the size of the bolts I'm going to use. I just find a drill bit that's the same size as my bolts here, and I'm going to mark out where I want to drill these and place these into my foot pedal here. Now you can see once we put these bolts in here that this isn't going to sit flush on the ground. So what we need to do is take something like this or like this, and we need to make the bottom of the hole bigger than the top. So this is what it should look like when you're done with that. The bolt should go right in and not stick out. So now I need to connect my wire from my bolt here to the bar. So once I solder this side, I'm going to take this little piece here and nail it back in to hold this wire in place. I have a little sandpaper disc here, and I'm just going to rough this piece of bar up right here so that the solder will stick to it. And dip it in the flux and solder this piece of wire right here. Now, instead of running my wire on top of the trap, I decided that I'm going to run it underneath. Now, in order to do that and still have a flat surface, I have to drill out enough of a hole for my wire to fit into. So I'm going to run this to my bolt, but it's going to be underneath, and then that's going to fit in this groove, come up, and I'm going to solder it to my bar here. Now the Dremel tool has this nice little attachment here that lets you put it onto your Dremel tool, and then you can move this around and set the depth that you want this to go by moving this. So in this way I can put this on and then just run this down like a piece of wood and get the correct depth that I need. I'm going to attach the clip cord again. Let me also recommend that you put a washer there. That way you have a better connection. Your wire is touching the metal instead of having it pushed against the wood. This will give you more of a connection, and it won't squeeze the wood as much when you tighten down your wing nuts. So toss a washer on there. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that the plastic on the wire doesn't get in the way of your connection. So what I have here is some grip tape that you put on stairs to make sure that you don't slip. And this is a self-adhesive. So I'm just going to cut a piece out that will fit over the entire thing. And I'm going to stick it to the back of this, and this will give it a grip so that it won't move around.